Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Hey, welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. It doesn't take much to feel the distance these days. You can sense it in conversations that end a little too quickly, in the way people hesitate before speaking honestly, in the quiet assumption that being understood is becoming less likely. There's a tension that lingers just beneath the surface, not always loud, not always obvious, but present. And over time, it shapes how we move. We become more careful, more guarded, more aware of where the lines are and how easily they can be crossed. It's not that we don't want connection, it's that connection begins to feel harder to reach. Like something that used to be natural now requires navigation. And so, without meaning to, we start to drift. Not all at once, but just a little at a time. A conversation we don't start. A moment we choose not to engage. A thought that we keep to ourselves because it feels easier than risking a misunderstanding. And slowly, the space between us grows. Not because we've stopped caring, but because we've become unsure of how to reach each other safely. There's something deeply human about that. The desire to connect and the fear of getting it wrong. The pull toward one another and the hesitation that holds us back. But here's what I've come to believe, guys. The way back doesn't begin with agreement. It doesn't begin with solving everything. It doesn't even begin with understanding everything. It begins with something much simpler. Willingness. May sound easy, but it's a small, quiet decision to move towards someone instead of away. To stay present in a moment where it would be easier to withdraw. To listen a little longer than you normally would. To let someone finish their thought, even if you're not sure that you'll agree with it. I have problems with that myself, guys. And I've got friends that will tell you that. These things don't feel like big actions. They don't feel like solutions, but they are openings. And openings matter because connection doesn't return all at once. It returns the same way that it was lost, in small steps, in moments that don't look dramatic, in choices that feel almost invisible while you're making them. There's a kind of courage in that, really. Not the kind that raises its voice, but the kind that softens it. Not the kind that pushes forward, but the kind that stays. Stays in the conversation, stays in the moment, stays open just long enough for something real to pass between two people. And sometimes that's all it takes. Not to fix everything by any means, but to remind both people that there is still something here, still something shared, still something worth reaching for. We don't need to have all the answers to begin moving back toward each other. We don't need perfect words, and we don't need to remove every difference. We just need to take one step, and then another, and then another. Not perfectly, not consistently, but intentionally. That's the big part, intent. Because every step toward connection, no matter how small, pushes back against the distance. And over time, those steps begin to add up. They begin to create something. Not a perfect world either, but a more human one. A world where we don't have to agree on everything to care about one another. Where we don't have to see things the same way to recognize each other's humanity. Where we remember that beneath all the noise, all the differences, all the lines that have been drawn, there is something deeper that connects us. We talk about it here all the time. Something that hasn't gone anywhere. Something that's been waiting for us to notice it again. So, if today gives you even the smallest opportunity to move towards someone instead of away, take it. Not because it'll fix everything, because it probably won't, but because it matters, because it opens something, because it reminds both of you that the distance is not permanent. And sometimes the way back to each other begins with a single moment where someone chooses not to turn away. I love you guys very, very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. You have a great weekend. Love you.
Every story, every voice, in this love we all rejoice. Infinite threads, here we go. Walk on.